Why can he swim and fly? I have questions.
Yeah, like, do the wings help him swim faster too? Like,
But that's not how their plant worked, because their plant turned them blue and made them only breathe water. He just somehow ended up with superpowers by being born from one of those people.
Hey guys, welcome back to It Takes Two. I'm Quinlan.
And I'm Emily.
And today we're talking about Black Panther's Wakanda Forever. Mic drop. I don't know.
Exciting.
It's
really good.
It's really good. Perfect thought.
That's my thought.
That's a full thought. Okay, full disclaimer before we get into this. I didn't realize I hadn't seen the first one until halfway through the second one, and I was like, oh, right, probably would have been a good idea to watch Black Panther before I saw it.
You know what? It's okay. I took my cousin and my roommate to go see it too. Either of them have also seen Black Panther, or any Marvel movie, apparently.
Okay, that's weird. I've seen every Marvel movie. Not everyone, obviously. I haven't seen some of the later installments, I guess, like Captain Marvel, and I guess for some reason I missed Black Panther in there, so don't know how that happened.
Oh, so then were you very confused by Michael B. Jordan showing up?
Yeah, I was like, Michael B. Jordan? What?
He's the villain in the first one.
Yeah, I kind of got that after they were talking for a little bit, and he was like, vengeance, and she's like, yes, and then, she changes her mind later, but anyway.
You know what? I have a comment, not about the movie, but about the theater that I saw this in. Okay? We went Friday at 3 p.m. Okay? I have never had an audience cheer and clap so much throughout a whole movie in my entire life.
Okay.
Every time someone would pop up, every time someone's name would pop up, they'd be like, woo, woo. There were kids talking the whole time. In the back, there was this kid that would not stop talking, and at one point, this lady just goes, come on now. There was a kid in front of us spinning, just doing circles. And at the end, as the credits rolled, someone was performing a contemporary dance number at the very front to the Rihanna song.
What in the world?
This was the weirdest viewing experience I have ever had.
Did people just, forget how to act at the movies?
Dude, okay, I get Chadwick coming up and everyone being super excited.
Yeah.
Because this movie was all about honoring Chadwick, on the call sheet, no one was the top build spot because they left it open for Chadwick. And that's amazing, and I love that. But everyone else, Michael B. Jordan popped up, everyone's screaming, cheering. The second she's in the Black Panther suit, screaming, cheering, clapping.
I think that's so funny, because literally, people were like, when those types of things happen, people were like, you could hear a gasp in the audience, people collectively just being like,
the energy,
you could feel it when things like
that.
But cheering? I mean, I guess.
See, that's why I love going to the movie theater, because it's a group experience.
Yeah.
And you can feel the energy, you feel the gasps, the laughs, the whatever.
Yeah.
But actively cheering and clapping for the actors? Yeah. That's the other thing that gets me, and this is the film, maker in me, that I've always been confused. Lately, I've gone to a lot of movies, and people start clapping when the credits roll, and, I get where they're coming from, and I think, okay, cool, you really appreciated it.
Yeah.
But normally, you only do that if someone from the crew or from the movie is there. You're just clapping for a projector right now.
Yeah, you're just clapping to clap at that point, because who's really hearing you?
It's when besides the plane lands and people clap.
Yeah.
I'm like, he does this every day. I think he knows it's good.
I think he's like, okay, got it.
We left that movie and I was like, you're kidding, right? This was the weirdest time of my life. I think I sent you a video of the girl dancing.
Yeah, you sent me a video. I was like, my theater wasn't actually that full, which was kind of weird. I went Saturday night, and it was like there was quite a few people in there, but a couple other movies I went to recently had more people than this one, which I was expecting this one to be like super popular, super full of people. And like even just looking on like the app when I went to go like view available times and seats and all that, there was like, I'm not even kidding, like 50 showings a day of this movie. Like every other movie there was like maybe 10 showings if it was like new. But this one, I kid you not, had like 50. So I guess that's probably why it wasn't so full, because there was like every 15 minutes another theater or another room or whatever auditorium started playing it. So somehow we just got into a less full group. I have no idea, but yeah, there was still quite a bit of people in there, but not nearly as many as I was expecting.
Yeah, that's weird to me though, because like our theater had a ton of showings too, but they were still so packed. Like we couldn't see this in IMAX. We couldn't see it in IMAX 3D. We had to go see it in standard digital, and we had to go to a matinee showing at 3 p.m. because
That's the only time.
every other show was so booked.
Jeez.
That was the only one we could physically get 3 seats together.
Wow, no, that's insane, because literally we had the pick of whatever seats we wanted. We had whatever time we wanted. Literally, and it was like I went at 8:30 on a Saturday. Like I feel at 8:30 p.m. on a Saturday, I feel like that was going to be kind of a big.
Yeah, no.
It was fun. I had a lot of fun. The movie was great. Super long. Just a forewarning. 2 hours and 40 minutes.
It wasn't painfully long, but it
No.
was definitely like you could feel it was long. There wasn't a ton that they could have really cut out necessarily.
No.
Maybe like 20 minutes, but
Then I feel like we could have missed some stuff, you know?
yeah.
One thing about going, I can't even see you because Penelope's in the way. Watching the trailer beforehand, like going to the movies and seeing the trailers before, I was like, this looks like it could be 4 different movies. Like, how are they gonna, in the world, are they gonna fit all of this into one movie? And then
Yeah.
after seeing how long the movie was and then watching it, they did a really good job of including, like, because the trailers, like, they showed, like, what is it, Namor?
Yeah.
His birth, they showed the blue people, they showed just a bunch of different scenes, like, throughout the whole movie. You know, they showed just the most randomest things, and I was like, how could this all be connected? Like, it really was just throwing me off,
Yeah.
because it really made zero sense how they could, but after seeing it, they did a really good job of the whole storyline.
I thought this movie was gonna be good the entire time, and obviously I was always gonna go see it because I thought the first one was great. But I was so confused. I can't take her serious. All I see is Penelope's face licking your hand, and I can't take you seriously right now.
She loves me, okay?
I don't think I've ever seen her lick you in my entire life.
Oh, she does it to me all the time. She has me brush her teeth for her. Okay, enough about Penelope, sorry. She's just gonna be here for the rest of the episode.
Hi.
She's cracked out, bro.
She is. She's just like stared me down. She's like, "What?"
She's so weird.
She is. Okay. So I was always gonna go see this movie because it always looked good to me.
Mm-hmm.
But I feel like Namor is not a super well-known character by people in like our generation.
Yeah, for sure.
I talked to my dad and he's like, "What are you talking about? Namor was bigger than Aquaman. He's the coolest thing ever." And I was like, "Dad, he has wings on his ankles. Why?"
Why? It's like,
but I was so confused of how they were gonna bring him into this movie and make it make sense.
Yeah.
In any way. And I feel like they did, but I still, in my head, he is to Aquaman what Mermaid Man is to Aquaman.
Okay. Are we talking Mermaid Man and Barnacle Boy?
Yes.
Okay.
That's just my assumption because I know we talked one day about like the whole 1-to-1 DC to Marvel. And I always just thought he was like some weird exaggerated version of Mermaid Man. And like, why can he swim and fly? I have questions.
Yeah, like, do the wings help him swim faster too? Like,
And I have more questions because then she uses the plant to synthesize the plant, but that's not how their plant worked because their plant turned them blue and made them only breathe water. He just somehow ended up with superpowers by being born from one of those people.
Because he was conceived as a human, but then born while she was one of the...
But aren't babies fed the same things the mother is fed?
Yeah.
Just through the umbilical cord, so wouldn't it have made more sense that he just also came out a blue person?
A blue person.
Why did he get wing feet? And become a weird hybrid?
One thing that was why were they blue when they were out of the water? And then
fish, I don't know.
Regular people in the water. Because...
See, that's my biggest thing, is nothing is actually explained in that, and I know it's supposed to be magical realism, it's just part of the world, you deal with it.
You just gotta go with the flow.
But I have questions.
But I still
have questions.
Yeah, I'm like, why are they blue outside of the water?
I know, when they went down to the world and then they were like, not blue anymore,
I was
very confused for a minute. I was like,
what
wait.
is happening? I was like, where are we now? And it was so weird seeing that. People were talking about, like, they would have liked to see some sort of, like, marriage alliance between Shuri and Namor. Because they're like, how else are they gonna coexist? And then they're like, what if they got married? Like, enemies to lovers type of situation.
You know what? They did have a flirty energy when he was like, I'll show you my world.
Yeah, and then he added her to his mural. Like,
oh, I didn't notice that.
At the end, when the, like, other girl came to complain, like, how could you let this happen, you know, type of thing, he was adding Shuri to the mural. Everyone's like, they kind of got this thing going on, so, like, why? They should have had some sort of marriage, like, enemies to lovers type of thing, character arc.
I feel like that would so defeat who her character is as a person, though. Of, I am an independent boss babe.
Yeah, 100%. Yes, I would have totally defeated it, but at the same time, it was kind of like hinting at that, like, the whole movie.
It did, I'll give you that.
It's like, I was really thinking we were going a different direction here, you know? So I thought that was kind of funny. Like, made sense. I could see it, but I also couldn't see it, you know?
Speaking of that scene, though, I really felt like we could have done without it. Like, I feel like it was self-explanatory of, like, that's why they made friends. It wasn't just because she spared him. It was, like, it made sense for him, too, because the whole time he's trying to get Wakanda on his side. So I felt like that's one of those things that they could have cut out. It was over-explaining.
Like, I got that without having to be explained that. That was one of those things where it's like, you let the viewer kind of fill in those blanks. Yeah. We didn't really need that whole...
That's the concept of, like, treating your audience like they're stupid.
Yeah.
Like, I mean, I know that's not what they meant, but, like, that's just, it was too much.
Yeah, but I also see at the same time, if we hadn't had it, without him explaining to his, like, people, like, this is why I did it, you know? Because they just went with it, and it was against everything that they had fully believed in 5 seconds prior, you know?
Yeah, but like they said, they did look at him as a god.
Yeah.
So, like, you do...
If your god says
just blindly follow, you do it.
You do it, yeah.
To be fair, that could also be setting up, though, for another storyline arc of, like, she could betray him or something.
Yeah, 100%.
So we don't know where Marvel's taking
where
this.
It's gonna go from here, for sure. Yeah.
watch Namor not be in any other Marvel
Ever
property
again. Ever. He's just never mentioned.
Literally. That'd honestly be really funny.
That would be pretty hilarious, honestly.
I will also say I feel like this is what we talked about in our Black Adam episode though, of it's very Marvel formatted.
Yeah.
Of yes, dark things happen, but like in the end, it's all okay, and we're not gonna talk about how we just killed like over 100 people.
How everybody's dead, you know, like that was a big battle in the middle, and like we're not even gonna talk
everybody's dead, but life's okay.
But life's okay again. Yeah, I think it definitely did that. This movie, though, also at the same time felt a little different than Marvel, like other movies, because it was more of like you were emotionally invested a little bit more, maybe because of Chadwick and like that strong emotion in general with him. But then with Shuri's mom and everybody, you know, like you kept getting these other big, and so we're following her and how she's battling grief and things like that, which we don't get to see a lot in like Marvel movies. They kind of touch on grief a little bit and move on, but this,
I think that's because it takes us back to the earlier phases again, though, of like Black Panther goes back to, I can't remember if it's phase 2 or phase 3. The newer phases are where we really like cut off. Like they put in, what is her name?
Valentina.
Okay, so they call her Val. I was close.
Val.
Okay, so they put Val in this movie, and I am not excited for the next phases of Marvel because she's the worst. She's basically like Amanda Waller, but I'd say worse. I hate her. You only know who she is if you've watched the Marvel like TV shows. She was in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, which was really good. It's wild and honestly kind of a political commentary, but in like a really fun way.
Okay.
But she's the absolute worst, and if like that's where we're going with this,
yeah,
I am not looking forward to it.
That's like another thing is like we kind of ended this movie and I'm like, they rescued Everett or whatnot, like right at the very end, or not rescued, but you see him again at the end. Liberated. But like, what now? Because everybody thinks everything that has happened is because of Wakanda, and they're not supposed to talk about the blue people.
You know, who knows?
And so like, stuff's gotta go down because like that Valentina Val is gonna have to start like come after them because
she comes after everyone. She doesn't need a reason. She sent Black Widow's sister after Hawkeye to try to kill him.
She crazy.
She convinced her that he was the reason that Black Widow was dead. It was a very standard Marvel movie, which means it was good, it had a lot of action, it was high production, really well done, really long, and we think you should see it.
Boom. Yeah, no, I totally get it. That was great. The technology that they use is so crazy. I love it. You know, I love like sci-fi part of movies. So seeing all the crazy tech and like the when she's doing little DNA strands the whole time, I was like so confused what was happening. But she'd pick it up, she'd like scroll on the ball and then put it back, and I was like, "What is happening?" She's just recreating DNA right now. Okay, but no, I love the sci-fi part where we get to see all these crazy inventions, and then we get what was the girl's name? The college student that they go in, but she was cool too, and her crazy like adventure, like inventions with like, and I think it was, and like the contrast of like she like in America they're using she's using literal junk to make her inventions, and then you go over to Wakanda and they just have like technology that's
she
just
stepped up her game
unreal.
so fast.
Yeah, she did. So that was super cool.
See, that's where I feel like DC is also failing a little bit, just because they have all of that in DC. They have these crazy androids and everything. Why has that not been brought up?
Why
Like,
are we using...
Bruce Wayne has a regular computer, and I'm like, have you not ever watched any of the cartoons? He has the same technology that Tony Stark and all of them have.
Yeah, so why not include it? Yeah.
He basically has Wakanda tech without the vibranium metal. Like,
Yeah. Yeah, no, that was super cool. Oh, another thing, thinking about, like, just that they didn't touch on but happened was the singing thing.
yeah, they never explained or brought that up.
Why?
They're just like, oh, they're sirens.
They're sirens, and people will just off themselves. They will just unalive themselves because they
I was
sing.
like, that makes sense, and like legends, and like blah blah blah, but really, there's really no good explanations for anything about the sea people.
They're mer people, so they're sirens, obviously. Like, I got confused there, and...
Okay, but then they're not able to breathe out of water. But then when they kidnap them, he takes off his mask and puts it on her. It was a water mask. How does it work in reverse? And then how did he breathe to get them back down?
So yeah, I didn't even think about the reverse part of it. I was like, when he took it off and gave it to her, I was like, how is he breathing? I'm like, okay, I guess he's about to jump right back in the water, so he'll be fine. But I didn't even think about the fact that it
was a water mask.
It's water, so she just pumping in water now. It's not like hooked up to an oxygen, obviously. What the hell?
It's weird. Also, why are all their bombs water bombs?
Those things were crazy.
That was like some magic though, because you can't, if it explodes with a ton of water, what is inside of it to make it explode? And there's not even enough space in there for the water.
There's more water than, because the bombs are like this big.
Yeah.
And then they just throw them, poof, it's like a tsunami of water, and you're like,
Like, I know there's magic in this universe, but you have to explain whether you're using tech or magic at this moment.
Yeah, and then how Namor got into Wakanda. They never touch on that again. Like...
Yeah, because then they're like, once they figure out he snuck in under their borders through, like, the sea or whatever, they're like, oh, let's increase our sonar, blah, 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 in the rivers and on the things. And then they just get back in.
They just get right back in. And it was like...
You don't think they have enough tech to stop that?
To get down
and,
into the...
If those people also wear vibranium, don't they have something that can just be like, oh, vibranium detected, people detected? Like,
yeah.
The most highly advanced society in the universe can't detect the water people?
Can't detect the water people? No, okay, this is totally going back to what we talked about earlier, but I wanted to add the vibranium, the bracelet. That was another thing, since he gave Shuri his mom's bracelet. I was like, marriage. They're getting married.
I know.
That was like a token, So, no, I forgot to add that earlier when we were talking about that, but...
Other question, why did he have pointy ears?
They didn't talk about that either. He said he had pointy ears, and he talked how his ears reached for the sky or whatnot, whatever he said, but never explained why.
I have a sneaking suspicion that maybe his father wasn't human. That's my best guess.
Yeah, I'm just... Because, they never talk about that. Like, I want to know.
Comparing it again to Black Adam, the slow-mo in this movie was not used nearly as efficiently.
No.
It was... Did you ever see Justice League?
No.
Do you know who Zack Snyder is?
Nope.
So to anyone listening to this, it felt very Snyder Justice League. Not quite to that extent, because that movie has so many long slow-mo shots that almost felt like they didn't need to be there. It's stylistic not really storytelling. They'd be fighting, and then all of a sudden it would just be like, ooh. But it was like a whole water splash in front of them, so you couldn't actually see them at all. It was just like slow-mo.
Yeah, no,
I was like,
I totally noticed that. Like, thinking about the Black Adam slow-mo in the action shots, you could actually see what was going on. And these, like, I get the slow-mo to show what's going on, but then they didn't show what was going on. You know?
no, it was just slow-mo for slow-mo's sake.
Yeah. Like, opening up the spear or something, and then they sped through her actually fighting with the spear, and you're like, okay, I wanted to see how she was unaliving people with the spear, not just her opening it to like show that she was getting it out, you know, like, because that's what was slowed down or showed like perfectly, and then the fight scene was then disrupted because it was back at normal pace.
You bring up a good point, though. Marvel, whenever the main characters are fighting people, did you ever notice that the people they're fighting never die? Like, she's like, that should have killed them, but it didn't. But then they'll kill off mass amounts of people.
Of, like, side characters.
Yeah!
But not a single one
every
of,
time.
Like, the henchmen of Namor or, like...
Never a single villain dies, but then thousands of civilians are just,
slaughtered.
Dead.
Slaughtered them all.
Every single time.
Yeah.
The only exception is when they fought, the robot thing that Tony Stark built in the town where Wanda and her brother are from. That's the only exception. They're like, that was mass murder. Like, every other time doesn't count. At least I feel like in DC, at least canonically, they're like, well, I think the Justice League actually should be controlled by a government because they cause just as many issues as they solve. Versus, like, Marvel, it's been an issue a couple times, but only for, like, half of them, and only sometimes under certain circumstances. Otherwise, they're like, oh, well, more civilians died.
Well, yeah, and I'm thinking about, like, Asgard with, like, Thor and battling the...
Asgard's just gone! Like...
Yeah, and, like, the older sister, what was her name? When she comes in, she messes stuff up. She is just killing people. You know, like, hundreds of people. And then, like, yeah, just Asgard's gone. But, like, we don't talk about how everybody died. You know, like...
They're like, look, we made a new Asgard in this world, and it's fine, and we're all thriving, and Thor plays video games and has a beer belly.
Yeah, but, like, we're not gonna talk about the millions of people that we just offed.
Yeah. See, literally, that's the only thing is in Falcon and the Winter Soldier, they talk about extensively all the people that, like, disappeared for the 5 years.
Blip, yeah.
Because when they come back, it's a socio-political issue of, like, we were living differently for those 5 years, and borders were open, and now all of these people are being displaced because all these people came back and want their lives back, and that was a cool, like, touch on it, but that's the only time they've ever touched on anything.
They don't talk about all the people returning. Oh, that's so weird.
Step your game up, Marvel.
Yeah, for sure. I want to know a little bit more about all that. Yeah. But I feel like we're saying a lot of negative about Marvel and this movie in general, but in general, the movie was good.
The movie was great. We're just picking out the little things that weren't as good because everything else was so good in comparison that these things feel really conflicting with the rest of the movie.
Yeah, the movie was so good. It's like, I guess you can't get them all, you know? Like, people are still gonna have questions very true. At the end. Like, they couldn't have made the movie any longer, too.
Oh, that would have been
to,
bad.
like, explain the questions we have, you know? And they wanted to get it in there, so...
We really did like this movie, like, a lot.
It was really good. I enjoyed it a lot. Would recommend.
Would suggest you see
10 out of 10.
Yes.
Get it. Go see it. Whatever.
Our issues are more with Marvel as a whole in this new phase, not this movie. Our questions are funny, silly questions.
Yeah, like,
not...
just us trying to get to the bottom of things. Like, oh, did you notice this? It was awesome.
It was.
Nothing.
Go see it.
Nothing bad.
Go see it.
Bad. I mean, except for everything we said, but still wasn't bad.
Really selling that one.
It still wasn't bad. Like, even
No.
with all of those flaws, or whatever you would want to call those, you know, plot holes or questions or whatever that arose, like, came from watching the movie, still would recommend it 100%.
We just have to pick things out, because otherwise we wouldn't be talking for 30 minutes. It would have stopped when I said, this movie was really good.
It was good.
That's about
awesome. Period. We're done. You know, like, had to find something to talk about. Go watch it. That's it.
Go watch it.
That's it.
That's all we got for you guys.
Just end scene. Go.
Just go. And we'll see you guys in the next one.
Peace out, Cub Scout.